and very welcome. This is going to be a meditation breathing exercise incorporating the sun, the moon, the planets, the stars, Earth, our human physiological makeup, metaphysiological makeup. So this will be great. What I would recommend if you are in the daytime to position yourself facing the sun when it's in the east rising. So this would be in the earlier part of the day. You could open your eyes at the sun while it's lower on the horizon and it's not harmful. If it gets to, you don't want to stare at the sun if you haven't had practice. I've heard of those who can actually stare at the sun at its height and its fullness of light without it hurting their eyes. I think you have to build up to that. So in the meanwhile, since I am just a mere novice, I try to have it go through trees, leaves, or if you have something in front of you, I have a roof line, I could help to balance that light that comes in. Which is really the whole essence of alchemical work, which is metaphysiological, is receiving the light and how to receive the light is what Kabbalism, what the name I think even means, and light being synonymous with spirit as well as air. The masculine part that's shooting out. And we want to, the teachings of Hermeticism is to charge our solar astral body by linking up with the solar deity, if you will, solar power. When we breathe, we want to go for a slow out and a slow in. And that took me, at least, probably takes others, some practice, because we're used to just going faster than we should. And sometimes there's a time to go fast. In Kundalini, there's like, and what we do is imagine a flame at your root, the base of your spine. And as you breathe out, you're giving that fire air, oxygen, which grows the fire. And if you've ever had to blow on embers that were fading and losing the ability to flame, it's not a quick, it's more of a sustained and focused that will give that ember a chance to spark up and flame. So we want to try to visualize us bringing in the white, pure light through the sun into the red embers of our root chakra, Muladhara, ruled by Mars, a red planet, in Capricorn, at the lowest of the year, where the sun is at its lowest, where the Son of God descends into the depths, the darknesses, where it will stay dead for 3 days and for 3 months. And then when it rises on Easter, the spring equinox, and it's crowned up above in our heads at Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Right now we have the sun in Scorpio, so that light going down to our genitalia area, the red root chakra, is Scorpio. We want to try to think about creating a figure 8. And the first one going out and in. And it's the descending energy is the descending of the Holy Spirit of the dove. Columba is the constellation of the dove in the sky. It's a descending feminine energy to receive the outgoing light, which is where we get the Star of David, the Seal of Solomon, even the cross. The masculine is also in charge of the up more, and then the horizontal, the feminine. And doing that gives us the 4 from the 2, the twins. Okay, but the twins, Gemini, your lungs, air sign. We're matching our body up with the body that we're in. We're bringing as above, down below. The microcosm and the macrocosm together. The feminine and the masculine. Why? For growth, for regeneration. For the survival of our species, for the survival of our consciousness development here in this earthen body, which we've taken on to be used as a tool for ascension, not to escape it. Escapism can be spirituality gone bad. But there is a type of, the way that you escape off this wheel of samsara, of our birth chart, of the cycles of the seasons, is to realize that it's all you. There's nothing outside of you. And then reverse that. This is a reversing of the polarities. But let's get back to breathing. So when we breathe out, slow, sustained. And then when we breathe in, we want to try to breathe in more than what we usually breathe in. Because usually we're breathing out more than we're breathing in. And we're not full of air. Air's life. Not full of life fully. And I do shallow breathing all the time. I'm a freaking chain smoker. But I think these practices can be healthy. When we're breathing in, think of it as if from that flame, we're bringing it up our spine to our pineal gland, to our third eye, illuminating it, which is likened to the moon. And the moon is in Taurus right now, where it'll be full. Who's in charge of the third eye chakra, which is where the upper heavens and the lower heavens meet. Just Aries, the fire, to earth of Taurus. And so when we bring the fire, Aleph, first, to the second, which is the feminine, we're creating life from there. Which, from the father to the mother, we have the twins, our lungs, Gemini. And then the twins meet the mother, Cancer. And they battle out, the twins battle it out over each other. And then, separation is when the first stage of life. Mars, Aries, is the separator, ultimately, from the 1 to the 2. Also the 1 being the number of the sun, exalted in Aries. And then 2, the number of the moon, exalted in Taurus. These, when I talk exaltations and being at home and then the opposite being at fall or in detriment, those are called the dignitaries of the planets. So what planet, how it because of its nature, which we judge by its position, its speed, its relationship to us and other heavenly bodies, how fast it is. And then we place that into the constellation of the season that best expresses that. The sun and the moon being up top, bam. Moon at home in Cancer, sun at home in Leo, the royal crown. And then we go down to Mercury, the messenger. So that's the crown and the moon, the sun and the moon. Imagine them here. Now it's helpful to, we go to the third eye, think of the moon in the night, light at night in your third eye. Charge of your intuition, your inner knowing. When we go into it, we're going in through here. And think about that when you breathe. In through the moon, we're receiving the light from the sun. And then we're going to reflect it to 7. Those are already 2 rays to the other 5. You think of that as a 5-pointer star. Going down, actually. They sign a Baphomet. They think it says something. It's not. That's how we're grounding fire into earth. Is by putting the top of this pentagram into the earth, feminine. And what do we learn from Capricorn? It's known as the host of God. It hosts the sins of the people. It hosts the spirit of God. That, along with its opposite sign, Cancer, who's ruled by the sun, who is Bet, who is also the second sign, Taurus, the bull, is our temple. Bethlehem, the temple of bread, when it's in Virgo. This is the mansions that the character Jesus says, my Father's home has many mansions. Each sign, there's 3 deacons, which goes to the lunar cycle. It's a lunar solar measurement system that we use for keeping track of time, measuring it, when astrology is gaining meaning out of that. So also, just to further prove astrology's presence in this world, and that's been hidden from us mainly, is look in the Farmer's Almanac. It comes out every year. It's the oldest publication in the United States of America. It's Freemasonic from the word go, and remains to this day. And they go through the lunar cycles and teach you what to plant and when to plant it. Because what you plant and when you plant it is measured with where the moon is in relationship to the sun and earth. During a certain time of year, you want to plant low-lying fruit or vegetables that grow under the earth, turnips and rooty stuff, more bitter type stuff. So those are the attributes we relate to the sign of that season, Scorpio right now, which relates to those types of things. Now when we have the sun and the moon, at the moon being full, we have an opposition in the heavens. The sun will be in the opposite sign of where the moon is. Eclipses happen when the longitude is matching up with the latitude, because they pass once a month, but not always. Well, actually twice, because we have the equinox and the spring and the fall, and so we have that with the sun and the moon every month, which is when we get our new moons and our full moons, new moon, full moon. So those are increments of 28 divided by 2, 14. 28.5 is the lunar month, which is an important number in everything, which is the moon, 2 to 8 Saturn, and that's the Saturn moon matrix. And so now we're going to the moon, in Taurus, imagine it there with this crescent moon on your freaking crowning your feminine crown. On top of that is the solar crown, corona. Imagine that spinning atop. And then we have this serpent snake of fire that is going to go from our moon down through those layers of heaven in our body, chakral system, points our spinal cord. We're catching this fire like in a tube, like in a funnel, like Prometheus. We capture this fire from this lightning strike from heaven to earth. We ground it into Saturn, into Earth, into the black cube, into the perfect temple housing place for God that we create through balance and harmony, through love, care, compassion. When we ground that into Earth and imagine that spark flying out through the root system, your nervous system, your whole molecular structure down to its smallest infinitesimal portion on all different levels, your solar, your lunar body, your freaking astral body, your God bodies just lit up with this white pure light, and what other colors might come and that red is being ignited into, it's rising up into its orange, into the sanctum of sanctum, from Saturn to Jupiter, the wise king that's birthed from the forehead is Athena, the sun goddess energy. Mother Kundalini rises us up. Our Shakti, our Prana, our Vril, our life energy rises up into the yellow solar plexus, where Mars has its willpower strengthened and applied to love, to Earth, the green chakra of our heart, our hearth, ruled by Venus. And then meeting this beautiful grassy plain filled with the greenest of trees, fauna. We go up to the blue sky, ruled by Mercury, the messenger, our throat chakra. We have this beautiful white light lighting up all these energetic points as we move from the blue sky of the day up into our third eye chakra, the moon, at the night skies, filled with all the stars of heavens and the planets rotating around us perfectly and in harmony, and crowned with the beautiful golden white light of the sun, perfectly in balance and harmony, as without, so within. And I think that's a helpful, any version of that, you see what I'm trying to do. There's nothing new. You get to do a rocking type energy. We're trying to do our breath work. We're trying to, and our imagination, our mental work. We're trying to, it works in a toroidal field, like a vertex in the middle, bringing us up. And in and descending is the same thing. But then, because it's also up within it, a vortex shooting up, and that shooting up is masculine energy. And it shoots up and then explodes like palm tree branches, which palm trees are a sign of victory. It's a victory when you've married these forces within you, as we see them without, as we synchronize with Saturn, Kronos, the moon god Sin. Sin is the moon god for the sun, which was a male deity, because we're bringing the male to the moon. And then the sun god Shamash in Hebrew was the sun goddess energy. So think of the sun as a goddess going to the god moon. And that's a great meditation. We're flipping polarities, because usually we think about it as the sun being masculine and then the moon being feminine. And that's true too. But it depends where you're talking about it. At what level? In the heavenly realm or the earthly realm. And so that's why we're bringing opposites together. And the moon and the sun being opposite for a full moon is the time where it's a powerful time to do that. The sun, the moon together. The moon, Saturn. Encapsulating the other planets within that. Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury. Each one in charge of a different chakra. And that changes between how you look at it in the planet's exaltations or homes. Body movement. And we're going into our body to not escape it, but to exalt it, to marry the spirit and the flesh together. And the conduit is water, to bring that fire and air into earth. Water is our imagination and our feelings, our emotions. And so when we have those mastered with our mind and in harmony, synchronized with the desires of that which is good, we become a really productive, strong vehicles, conduits, channels for a spirit, for the good that really, I think, it wants to come into this world. That's beautiful, right? All right, well, this is 22 minutes, and I think that will suffice. Hopefully, people got something from this. Yeah, we're going through this Taurus Scorpio eclipse right now, and it can be intense. And what Taurus teaches us to do, and with the moon being full, it's really it's the fullness of Earth. It receives the fullness of the waters now in a perfect balance. This is the chance where we can really imagine ourselves as this beautiful container fashioned from Earth, and refashion it with the beautiful waters of our emotions, of how we feel. And so then we bring the fire, the air element, which is how we think about it, and that's the mind going into the forming of this chalice to receive, bam, the fire. A chalice with a flame in it, a fire, is a symbol we find in the church even, or with the serpent coming out of it. The wise serpent, serpent of wisdom, pierces the third eye, the piñata, the pineal gland, together with the pituitary. The pineal gland being masculine, like a penis. A pituitary, like a pit, is something we put something in. It's a feminine, like a vagina. That's why sex phallic symbol is everywhere. So the idea is that as we see what goes around above us, such as the movement of the sun, and then the moon in second place, and the planets, it affects what happens on Earth, aka our seasons and the growth of life. And then we see how we are in simpatico with with creation, us being creation. So, as creation, participating in creation on a smaller level, on a microcosmic level from us now being the macro, We arrange things, put them together, organize them, feel into them, have intentions, mind, and then we bring it something from the imagination, the realm of the heavenly waters, into physical manifestation earth. And our emotional mind is such an important part of the creative imagination process, which is likened to the feminine goddess energy. And the moon it gets constantly attacked. Together with our nervous system, I think we really want to work on calming our nervous system. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it's like, along with your karma through what you've done in your life and your ability to calm your nerves, that affects your next lot in life. And the Indian religion is, through Persia, is where Judaism got almost all of its teachings from, together mixed with Egypt and Babylonian, Chaldean, Sumerian. I say that to say this, that there is a universal teaching, I think, that can bring us all together. If we find the esoteric meanings of these things and teach on that, and then showing how the exoteric, literal meanings of them have been used to manipulate us, then we might have a chance, my friends. Oh, good. That was, I needed that. Because I felt like I was getting a little bit losing my direction. And then that just reminded me of the importance of what I'm trying to do. Yeah, maybe a new regained focus right now. You know, the Taurus Scorpio axis is the axis of focus. All the fixed signs, really. Aquarius and Leo as well. But here we have a focused earth sign, Taurus. If you've ever seen a Taurus, they can sit down and work. They're the bull who puts the plow to the field. And they're also in charge of the soldiers. The second half of the body. The shoulders. And they get the job done. That's why you want to invoke a papal bull if you want to stick something into the earth to make sure it gets done. Or call your sacred book the Taurus or the Torah after the Taurus bull. Yeah, so that says a lot. So right now we have the full moon there. So we have a full emotional type of mental body, celestial body, coming together into earth. So we want that emotional part of us to be the most fruitive into earth, receptive to the light from heaven through the air of our mind. Mentally being mindful, mastering the mind so that it might be not an obstruction to grace, higher consciousness, but rather a fruitive field for it to fall in. And we're nourishing it, we're feeding it, we're nurturing it with our emotional focus. Scorpio. They can often focus on bad stuff. I wouldn't say bad, but Scorpios can focus on stuff that is toxic for emotional feelings, fulfillment, when ultimately it's actually poison. But in a certain amount, mastered by the mind, the eagle representing Scorpio, we have the ability to channel that water to really resurrect people from the dead, as the phoenix is also a symbol for Scorpio. A fiery flying serpent is what a seraphim means. With its waning sword, on its sword, our spine, we have this serpentine energy circling up our spine like a pine tree, spiraling like a church spire. Let us bring in holy fire so that we might be able to vibe higher. And now we got to 30 minutes. All right, well, shut up. You know, I go on forever. May this Taurus full moon eclipse, with all the else that's happening in the heavens, may we be able to channel this energy healthily, cutting off that which doth not serve us for a higher good, loving ourselves more, receiving, accepting that love, giving that love to ourselves, that we might be able to be a channel of love to all those whom we come across and to whom we might never come across in the flesh. We are plugging in to the collective, universal, conscious, metaphysiological body that we are in, and we are inserting love into it, and light, and health, and peace, and harmony, and all that what is good and beautiful and true. May we be channels of this grace, and may an influx of grace from the merits and rewards that our ancestors who went before us karmically are owed, may those gifts be rained down upon this generation as we transfer into the age of Aquarius, where we all might live in a land expressing ourselves fully, individuating, celebrating our uniqueness, while maintaining, even celebrating the dignity of all human beings equally. Washing away these teachings that have harmed us, that wisdom and understanding might abound. So mote it be.